I'm a big fan of Rabbi Taub. I appreciate a lot of the things he says. He's a wise man. But he recently said something about the notion of therapy and one of the risks of therapy. While I do agree with him philosophically, I think practically there's an important distinction that needs to be made. Take a listen to the recording.
Can therapy actually be dangerous? I think people are talking about that more nowadays because it's sort of become fashionable to recognize that we may not be doing ourselves a favor by ruminating in our problems. We're thinking too much about the negativity. That's true. I have another issue, though, that I want to bring up, which is that to me, I see one of the big dangers. And before I say what one of the big dangers is, I want to say that for many, many, many people, therapy is life-saving. But when one goes to a therapist, one has to understand that essentially, inherently, most therapeutic models are amoral. And what I mean by that is not immoral. It's not telling you to do bad. It's amoral. The difference between immoral and immoral says, I know what bad is, and I'm going to do it anyway because I don't care. Amoral says, I'm not concerning myself with the question of morality, with right and wrong. When somebody goes to therapy and they don't already have a strong sense of morality, of right and wrong, they become very, very susceptible to all types of, in most cases unintentionally this happens, but being misled and ending up without real stability. When I say most therapeutic models are amoral, what I mean is if you go to a therapist and you say, should I leave my marriage? The answer is basically, I don't know, what do you want to do? Like, let's figure out what you want. And there's no right, there's no wrong, it's whatever works for you. Whereas if you're coming from a Torah perspective, there is a right or a wrong answer, and there is a higher good that I'm trying to achieve. And when I have a problem achieving that for whatever reason, because I have intellectual or emotional blockage, then I would go to a therapist and I would tell them what my moral objective is, and they would help me to achieve it.
Now, Rabbi Taub made the point that therapy is inherently amoral. Not immoral, but amoral, in the sense that it doesn't follow a morality code. Its aim is to help you essentially with what you want. Now, here's the problem. I think that's philosophically or inherently true, fundamentally true. I don't think most therapists are amoral. And I believe that's actually a problem, ironically, because a therapist who is following a morality code, it's unlikely that that's going to be your morality code necessarily. And what happens is therapists inevitably push values that they believe in, and now they take the role of a clergy rather than the role of a therapist, which means they take the role of somebody who's trying to teach you what is right and wrong as opposed to somebody who is trying to heal you. And I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to that told me their therapist advised that they do this. Their therapist advised that they do that. I had spoken to so many people where therapists had told them that they should get a divorce because they should prioritize their happiness. Now, besides for me disagreeing with that advice categorically, not to say that there is no place for divorce and that it isn't necessary, I think it's not the therapist's role to suggest that. The job of the therapist is to heal, not to suggest things. I had a mentor in the world of therapy who said something which I thought was totally brilliant. He used to say, don't encourage your clients, empower your clients. When you encourage people, which is what many therapists do, they try to encourage something. Behind that encouragement is an agenda that you're trying to encourage. And it might be a good agenda, might be a positive agenda, but it's a value, it's a moral that you believe is healthy, and I'm trying to push that on the client. Empowering the client is healing them and respects their autonomy and enables them to make their own decisions. So while I agree that inherently therapeutic models should be amoral because they shouldn't be trying to pushing and encourage agendas and values on people, they should be focused on healing. I think in practice, when choosing a therapist, people need to be very careful and understand that not only, like what Rabbi Taub said, being careful that they have their own morals straight and that they have their own clarity, but choosing a therapist whom either has values that they share or has the ability to empower and not just encourage and not push their own values. Okay, that's my story and I'm sticking to it.